Welcome everyone. Sam's going to bring up some slides for us to go through. The intent of this is to give you a bit of an overview of the company, but then spend a little bit of time with a few of our recent graduate employees. So we've got Ben, Lockie, Sam and Jamie here who have all joined the company in the last 12 months to give you a bit of an overview of their path to joining Northrop Grumman as a graduate employee. And to talk to you a little bit about some of the interesting things they've been working on and then open up for some questions. I realise we've only got 20 minutes, so we're going to get through the slides pretty quick. Sam, can you bring them up, please? It's just a bit of an overview. Northrop Grumman Australia, about 800 people, big staff ramp up from sort of 2018 and projected into the future as we go forward after a few acquisitions. We've got a general manager for Asia Pacific in Christine Zeitz and Chris Diebel, who's done many years in Air Force as the chief executive here in Australia. Got two different operating units and a business development team, a bunch of reach out with small to medium enterprises and research universities. And you'll see our name pop up in other STEM and philanthropic initiatives. Next slide, please. So what do we do? Defining possible. So the Northrop Grumman mantra is what are we doing to define possible in science, technology and engineering? How are we helping solve the toughest problems in defence, security and space? 85,000 people globally. Northrop Grumman is a global brand. Majority of those are in the US. And we are looking, as I mentioned, to grow here in Australia. So you'll see opportunities over the next few years to get in at the entry level of Northrop Grumman Australia as we grow. Next slide, please. Where are we located? Primarily two central hubs of employees here in Australia. One out of the Brisbane area, a few different facilities in Brisbane, and then another geographic centre in Canberra with the head office. A few little satellite locations scattered around in Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide and Williamtown, but those primary areas in sort of southeast Queensland and Canberra. Next slide. So it's really important that I covered the values here. And this isn't to be a little bit facetious and go every company puts up a value slide and it's really important. This is because these are the things that will help you get a job with Northrop Grumman in the future. Understanding these and understanding how you resonate with them, what behaviours you've shown that helps you demonstrate those will help you get through the door. And it really does drive our day-to-day activities. We do the right thing, which means that we set out to do the right thing in all endeavours. We do what we promise, so we say what we do. We commit to shared success. So that's not just me saying good job to Ben as we get something done inside the work. Shared success across teams, across operating units and projects, and between us and our customer. We look to create win-win scenarios at all times. And then we pioneer, which is that innovation, curiosity, and look to solve the world's most challenging problems. Next slide, please. Here's some of our key programs. These ones are in train at the moment in work, a mix of aviation and what we call integrated systems, so software on hardware or integrating multiple vendors together into a single solution. And then there's a few initiatives that we've got coming up that I think we'll talk to one here in space in the next slide, Sam. So making a big investment. Northrop Grumman's one of the pioneers in space. The very first lunar landing module was designed by one of the original companies from Northrop Grumman. And we've just launched the James Webb Space Telescope, which is the most cutting edge piece of technology out in space at the moment. So we've got lots of expertise in space, and we're looking at improving Australia's sovereign space capabilities through leveraging that technology and history that we have through the long coupling with the space program. Slide. How can you connect with us? Sam's going to drop all this into the chat window in a minute so you can get access to it. And I'm sure that Elliot will drop the Possible page link in at some point for us. That's how I encourage you to find information about how to get involved with the company. I think that wraps up the slides. And now I want to hand over, here we go, to our grads. We'll go through them in order. We've got Lockie first up, who's just recently joined the company full-time, and we'll go to Sam and Jamie and Ben. So just a couple of minutes each. Thanks, team. Feel free to come off mute.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Lachlan. and as Leon said, I've just come onto the team full time here. Last year, I was an intern. I started back in, it was 2020 October. And I was working on a program delivering a satellite ground station and network management system to the ADF to be used in SATCOM operations. My role as part of that team was as part of the Australian test team, doing acceptance testing and evaluation of the network management system software as it was being developed in the United States. And for me, that was great exposure to an international company and how that kind of operates. And communicating remotely with our team down in Canberra as well was also good to get that kind of experience here with NGA. The project I'm currently working on full-time, though, is kind of similar in the sense that we're working closely with the US to develop a product, except this time it's the project is for modernizing some Australian Navy equipment, which is really exciting to get kind of different breadth from, space with the satellite station, and now looking at kind of a more of a down to earth, as you could say, application. I've got an awesome opportunity now as systems engineer on this project where we're just about to get the project started. So I'm able to be exposed to the foundations of the project and follow the flow and process through that. I guess what I've really enjoyed the most so far is that I get to see the software that operators use or will be using in the field on both these projects and kind of get my hands on it before they do. But yeah, that's it from me. Sam, you ready to go?
Yeah, thanks, Lockie. Hi guys, my name's Sam. So I'm currently the Organizational Enablement Advisor, which is just a fancy title, but I'm really just in the HR team. And I've been in this role for about 12 months now. I joined as a grad. My background is both in business and in journalism. So I guess I'm evidence that you don't have to have a technical background to have a career at such a technically proficient company. So there's lots of diverse roles here. So as it says on the slide, I'm moving into a new role as of next week. So I had 12 months in the HR team, and with my dual background, I'm moving into the communications team, which is something I'm very excited about. And funnily enough, we've hired a next speaker, Jamie, who will be the new organizational enablement advisor in the human resources team. Jamie?
Thanks, Sam. So like Sam, I also don't have a technical background, but did manage to get into NG. So my pathway to NG was actually through an event similar to this, where I did meet Sam. So we connected and then remained in contact. And when he took on another position within the company, he reached out. So I guess that's a really good example of leveraging your networks and taking advantage of these sort of events. So in my really short time at NG, I've been working on workforce planning. So this is a really crucial part that affects all of the programs that the company can take on. So it's been really interesting for me to analyze our current skill sets and put this against what we need to be able to identify skills that we need for program deliverables. And from this, the team and I have been developing strategies to be able to attract and retain the talent that we require for our future programs. So that's it from me.
All right, hey guys, my name is Ben Costello. I graduated last year with a Bachelor's of Electrical and Aerospace Engineering, so I do have that technical background. I've been with Northrop Grumman for 4 months now, since the end of October last year. And my role is a systems and process engineer. Since starting, I've gotten the opportunity to work on a really exciting project, a maritime UAV for the Australian Navy. And that's in its very initial stage. So in the capture stage, basically means that we get to develop our proposal, and that gets to that goes and that's goes up against other companies' proposals, and the Navy decides who they go with from that. And basically what we do is we get a list of requirements from the Commonwealth, and we use that to develop our proposal and our design. We break those down into lower level requirements, and then we contract that out to different subcontractors. And so there's a lot of communications with other companies across other countries too. So that's it's really cool to be exposed to that, and it's really cool to get that opportunity to be in that initial design phase as well, like Lachlan said, and you get to you sort of get to set the foundation for what this project gets to be, and you get to have a say in how it starts, rather than just being a cog in the machine. So it's been really exciting so far. Cheers.
That's us. So I guess I'll throw it back over to Leon, and more importantly, over to everyone else. So if you have any questions about us, or you'd like to share what you're interested in, we'd love to discuss it. Leon?
Thanks, Dean. We'll give an opportunity for people to put their questions in that we can perhaps talk to live. Or if not, then if there's no other questions, I'll ask some of our recent graduates some questions themselves. What are the top areas we seek grads from? So it depends. The defence industry is often sort of circles around technical natured employees, but as Sam and Jamie are evidence to, there are opportunities outside of the technical fields. We've got a lot of requirement for, we have a big sort of half of our company is supporting aerospace, so there's often opportunities and growth within the aerospace team, but our largest areas of growth at the moment are in software, hardware integration, mechatronics, those types of things, systems architecture, modeling, user interface design, those types of things. Yeah, good question. So I'm going to ask the question of the recent grads. I'll try and direct them. What do you think, if you had one piece of advice for people going to sit an interview to join the graduate program or join the Northrop Grumman team, what piece of advice would you give? I'll throw to you first, Lachlan.
Yeah, I think if you're going to go sit for an interview, you've really just got to show that you've got real interest and passion in what we do here, and in like the defence and space industry as a whole. I think that really is what has helped a lot of people in their applications as grads here. And be persistent as well. There's the old saying, like, squeaky wheel gets the oil. So don't just send in your application and attend the interview and then wait. Make sure you engage with your interview board and engage with the talent team afterwards and demonstrate your interest that way as well.
Thanks, Lockie. How about you, Jamie?
So a piece of advice I would give is kind of attitude is everything at this stage in your career. I know I've gone into a lot of interviews thinking, I don't know what I bring to the table. But the thing I've taken away is attitude is everything. And if you go in there willing to learn, receptive to feedback, and just a team player, then you'll be fine, particularly at this stage.
Great point, Jamie. Ben, any piece of advice for getting through that first big job interview?
Yeah, so I think I like what Lachlan said, and that just show that you're interested, show that you're passionate, do your research about the company that you're applying for, about the type of stuff they do, what they're about, and also what Leon said in the panel session. I think it's a good idea to have a few stories that sort of answer a number of potential interview questions that you might get, rather than trying to remember or have an answer for 20 different questions. Have a story that answers a few, and then it's a lot easier to draw on that.
Great, Ben. And Sam, for you?
Yeah, it's all been said probably, but it's just important to note that particularly in this industry, and Northrop Grumman's a great example, like we're quite unique companies. We have unique technologies. And so you just have to be very clear about why that uniqueness is for you. Because it's got to fit both people, both the organization and the person. So as long as you're clear about that, I think it should be a successful interview. You don't have to be a great speaker.
Great point, Sam. Thank you. We've only got a couple of minutes left. I see a question from Fred Flintstone, which is a name I didn't expect to see. But we have had people join from non-technical backgrounds and move into technical roles. An example, and maybe not exceptionally non-technical, but where people join at a help desk level and then progress into technical roles. We've had people join as a quality manager or a supply chain person and work into safety engineering or something like that. So there are paths that allow people from non-technical backgrounds to move into technical roles in the future. And as I mentioned to you in the panel session earlier, that idea of jumping onto the lily pad and then working out what you like and what you don't like, and then often once you're inside a company or understand the industry a little bit better, it's a lot easier to find that next job that sort of aligns with where you want to go. As I mentioned in the panelists process, those types of stories you should detail some of those personal qualities and attributes. So who are you and what behaviors do you have? So in answer to that, it's the a personal difficulty that you've had to overcome, a difficult project or something that you've worked on that wasn't going well, and then it started to go well, a difficult person you've had to work with, something you're really proud of accomplishing and achieving. And what's really important in that, and we like to use the STAR type process. So what was the situation? What was the task? What actions did you take and what results came out of that? And if you can sort of compose a story or a narrative that supports filling those four things, that talks through that personal challenge, that starts to identify some of the behaviors that you have, that'll go a long way in helping you answer some of the questions that you'll get from a recruiter or a manager in the future. Really appreciate your time. Encourage you to go check out our Prosper page. Elliot will post another link up for us. Sam's probably dumped some information into the chat window again from out of our slide pack. And I encourage you to reach out to members of the team if you have any additional questions, and pay attention to future opportunities to come work with Northrop Grumman as we go do work on some really interesting things and solve some really difficult problems with a pretty cool team.